Have you ever found yourself walking into a room and forgetting why you went there? And then just standing there for a moment, hoping it comes back? Or maybe you've noticed that getting up from a chair takes just a little more effort than it used to. Or that your sleep feels lighter, more interrupted, even on nights when everything should feel calm. If that sounds familiar, I want you to take a deep breath with me for a second, because what you're experiencing is not failure, and it's not something to be ashamed of. It's something every woman who lives long enough will eventually notice. It's part of being human. It's part of aging. And more importantly, it's normal. Today, we're going to talk about 5 very real, very common changes that happen in your body after 60. These are things that often worry women because they can feel unexpected or even frightening at times. But when you understand them, when you recognize what's actually happening, something shifts. That worry softens. That fear loses its grip. Because knowledge gives you something powerful. It gives you control. And as we go through these together, I want you to think of this less like a lecture and more like a quiet conversation between 2 women who understand that life doesn't end at 60. In many ways, it begins again, with more wisdom, more clarity, and a deeper sense of what truly matters. Let's start with something that almost every woman notices first, even if she doesn't talk about it out loud. You may have felt that your energy just isn't what it used to be. Not dramatically gone, but different. Maybe you wake up feeling okay, but by mid-afternoon, there's a heaviness that settles in. Tasks that once felt simple, grocery shopping, cleaning the house, even standing for long periods, now take more out of you. And sometimes it can feel confusing. You might think, why am I so tired? I slept. I didn't do anything extreme. Here's the truth. After 60, your body naturally produces less energy at a cellular level. Your metabolism slows down. Your muscles don't process fuel the same way. Even your hormones, which once helped regulate energy, shift in subtle but powerful ways. And none of that means something is wrong. It simply means your body is asking for a different kind of care. Instead of pushing through exhaustion, like you may have done in your 40s or 50s, this stage of life invites you to listen more closely, to rest before you're completely drained, to nourish your body with foods that sustain you, not just fill you, to move your body gently but consistently so your energy builds instead of depletes. I remember a woman who once told me she felt lazy because she needed to sit down more often during the day. But when she stopped judging herself and started honoring those moments of rest, something surprising happened. Her overall energy improved. She wasn't fighting her body anymore. She was working with it. And that's the shift that matters. Now, along with changes in energy, there's another experience that many women notice quietly creeping in, those small memory slips. Not the kind that completely disrupt your life, but the little things. Misplacing your glasses, forgetting a name, losing track of a thought mid-sentence. It can feel unsettling, especially if you've always taken pride in being sharp and organized. But here's something important to understand. Mild changes in memory are a normal part of aging. Your brain processes information a bit more slowly. It takes longer to retrieve certain details, but slower does not mean broken. Think of it like this. Your mind is like a library that's been growing for decades. There's so much more stored inside now than there was years ago. So sometimes it simply takes a little longer to find the exact book you're looking for. And the beautiful thing is, your brain still has the ability to grow, adapt, and strengthen, no matter your age. Simple habits can make a meaningful difference. Staying mentally active, whether that's reading, doing puzzles, or even having deep conversations keeps those pathways engaged. Writing things down, not because you're incapable, but because you're wise enough to use tools, can ease frustration. Even something as simple as slowing down when you speak or think can help your mind keep pace with your thoughts. One woman shared that she started keeping a small notebook in her purse, not as a sign of decline, but as a symbol of self-respect. She said it gave her peace of mind. And peace, at this stage of life, is worth more than perfection. And then, there's something that often surprises women because it doesn't always get talked about openly. Sleep. You may have noticed that sleep doesn't feel as deep as it once did. Maybe you wake up during the night, sometimes more than once. Maybe you fall asleep easily, but staying asleep becomes the challenge. Or perhaps you wake up earlier than you want to, unable to drift back into rest. And that can leave you feeling tired, even after what should have been a full night. This, too, is a natural change. As you age, your body produces less melatonin, the hormone that helps regulate sleep. Your internal clock shifts. You may become more sensitive to light, noise, or even small discomforts. But here's the comforting part. While sleep may change, it doesn't have to become a struggle. It simply asks for a different rhythm. Creating a calming evening routine can make a big difference. Dimming the lights, turning off screens earlier, allowing your mind to wind down instead of staying stimulated. These small adjustments signal to your body that it's time to rest. And if you do wake up during the night, instead of becoming frustrated or anxious, try to meet that moment with gentleness. Sometimes, simply resting quietly, even without deep sleep, can still restore your body more than you think. There's a quiet wisdom in learning how to rest, even when sleep isn't perfect. Because at this stage of life, it's not about forcing your body into old patterns. It's about understanding its new language. And as these changes begin to make more sense, your energy, your memory, your sleep, you may start to notice something else. A deeper awareness. A sense that your body is speaking to you more clearly than it ever has before. And when you begin to listen, really listen, you realize that aging isn't something happening against you. It's something happening with you. Now, as we continue this conversation, there are still a couple more changes that many women experience after 60, ones that can feel just as real, but often go unspoken in everyday life. And one of those changes often shows up so gradually that you might not even notice it at first. It begins in small ways. Maybe you're opening a jar that used to be no trouble at all, and suddenly you have to pause. Maybe carrying groceries feels a little heavier than it once did. Or you find yourself choosing the chair with armrests just to make standing up a bit easier. This isn't weakness in the way many people fear it. It's a natural shift in muscle strength and bone density that happens as the years go by. After 60, your body slowly begins to lose muscle mass. It's something called sarcopenia, but you don't need to remember the word to understand the feeling. Muscles that once stayed strong without much effort now need a little encouragement to maintain their strength. At the same time, bones can become a bit more fragile, especially for women, because of hormonal changes that have been quietly unfolding for years. And here's where many women make a mistake, not because they don't care, but because they've been taught the wrong message. They think the answer is to do less, to avoid strain, to take it easy all the time. But your body doesn't stay strong by resting alone. It stays strong by being gently challenged. That doesn't mean lifting heavy weights or pushing yourself to exhaustion. It means simple, consistent movement. It might look like walking around your neighborhood each morning, holding light hand weights while watching your favorite show, or even doing sit-to-stand movements from your chair a few times a day. I once spoke with a woman who said she felt like she was shrinking into herself because she had stopped using her body the way she used to. But when she began adding just a few minutes of movement back into her day, nothing intense, nothing overwhelming, she noticed something beautiful. She felt capable again, not younger, not faster, but capable. And that feeling changed everything. Strength at this stage of life isn't about proving anything to anyone. It's about maintaining your independence. It's about being able to carry your own groceries, stand up with confidence, and move through your home without hesitation. It's about freedom. And then there's another change that often surprises women because it's not always talked about in a way that feels reassuring. Your balance. You might notice that you feel a little less steady on your feet. Maybe you hesitate for a moment before stepping off a curb, or you find yourself holding onto the railing a bit more tightly when going downstairs. Again, this isn't something to panic about. Your balance is influenced by several systems in your body, your muscles, your vision, even your inner ear. And as each of these changes slightly with age, your sense of stability can shift too. But here's the empowering truth. Balance is something you can improve. It doesn't have to decline without a say from you. Simple practices can make a meaningful difference. Standing on one foot while brushing your teeth, walking heel to toe across the room, gentle exercises like Tai Chi or yoga, which focus on slow, controlled movement, can help your body relearn how to stay steady. And what matters most is not perfection, it's consistency. There's something quietly powerful about choosing to take care of your balance because it reflects something deeper. It says, I am still here. I am still moving. I am still engaged with my life. And that mindset carries over into everything else. Now, as these physical changes unfold, your strength, your balance, you may also begin to notice something happening beneath the surface, something that isn't always visible, but is deeply felt. Your relationship with your body starts to change. There may be moments when you look in the mirror and feel a sense of unfamiliarity. Your skin may feel thinner, less elastic. Your body may not respond the way it once did. And if you're honest, there might be days when that brings up frustration, or even a little sadness. That's not vanity. That's humanity, because your body has carried you through decades of life. It has held your joys, your struggles, your responsibilities, your love. So when it begins to change, it's natural to feel something about that. But here's a perspective that can gently shift how you see it. What if, instead of viewing these changes as losses, you began to see them as signs of a life fully lived? Every line, every change in texture, every difference in strength or shape, they all tell a story, not of decline, but of experience. And when you begin to treat your body not as something that needs to be fixed, but as something that deserves to be cared for, respected, even appreciated, your entire experience of aging begins to feel different. You might find yourself choosing nourishing foods not because you should, but because your body deserves it. You might move your body not to chase youth, but to support your well-being. You might rest, not out of weakness, but out of wisdom. There is a quiet dignity in that kind of care, and it's something no one talks about enough. Because the truth is, aging after 60 is not just about what changes, it's about how you respond to those changes. You can resist them, judge them, and feel like you're losing something every day. Or you can meet them with understanding, with patience, and with a kind of strength that doesn't come from muscles alone, but from perspective. And when you choose that second path, something shifts. You begin to feel less like you're fighting time and more like you're walking alongside it. Now, as all of this settles in, the changes in your body, your strength, your balance, even your sense of self, there's one more piece of this conversation that matters deeply, because beyond all the physical shifts, beyond the science and the explanations, there's something even more important waiting to be understood. Because beyond everything we've talked about, your energy, your memory, your sleep, your strength, your balance, there's one change that doesn't always show up in medical conversations, but quietly shapes how you experience all the others, and that is your emotional landscape. After 60, many women begin to notice subtle shifts in how they feel, not just physically, but emotionally. Things that once felt urgent may no longer carry the same weight. Situations that used to cause stress or frustration might now feel easier to let go of. And at the same time, there can be moments of unexpected sensitivity, times when memories feel closer or emotions rise more quickly than you expect. This too is normal. Your life has been full. Decades of experiences, relationships, responsibilities, and transitions have shaped who you are. And as you move into this stage, your mind begins to process things differently. It becomes less focused on rushing forward and more inclined to reflect, to evaluate, to feel. Some women describe it as becoming softer. Others say they feel more honest with themselves than ever before. But here's what's really happening. You are becoming more in tune with what matters, and sometimes that clarity can feel emotional. You may find yourself thinking about the past, moments you wish you had handled differently, people you miss, choices you made. Or you may feel a deeper appreciation for small, everyday things that once went unnoticed. This isn't instability, it's awareness. And when you allow yourself to experience it without judgment, it can become one of the most meaningful parts of this stage of life. I remember a woman who told me that in her younger years, she was always busy, raising children, managing a home, working, taking care of everyone else. She said she didn't have time to sit with her feelings, but in her 60s she finally began to slow down, and at first that quiet felt uncomfortable until she realized it was also peaceful. She began taking morning walks, not for exercise, but for reflection. She started writing letters she never intended to send, just to express what had been sitting in her heart for years. And instead of feeling overwhelmed, she felt lighter, because she wasn't carrying everything inside anymore. And that's something I want you to hear clearly. Your emotional changes are not something to suppress. They are something to understand. There's a kind of emotional strength that comes after 60 that younger years simply don't offer. It's the ability to choose your peace more intentionally, to step away from drama, to recognize what deserves your energy and what doesn't. You may notice that your circle becomes smaller, but more meaningful, that you prefer deeper conversations over surface-level ones, that you value quiet moments more than constant activity. And that's not loss. That's refinement. It's life gently guiding you toward what truly nourishes your soul. Now, when you look at all 5 of these changes together, your energy shifting, your memory slowing just a bit, your sleep evolving, your body asking for strength and balance in new ways, and your emotions becoming more present, you start to see a pattern. None of these changes are random. They are all part of a transition, not away from life, but into a different way of living it. And the more you understand that, the less you feel like something is being taken from you, and the more you begin to recognize what is being offered instead. You are being given permission to slow down without guilt, to take care of yourself without apology, to choose peace over pressure, to live with intention instead of obligation, and perhaps most importantly, to define your life on your own terms. Because the truth is, there is no single way to age. Some women choose to stay busy and active, filling their days with hobbies, travel, and social connections. Others find joy in quieter routines, in simple pleasures, in moments of stillness. Both are valid. What matters is that your life feels like yours. So if you've been noticing these changes in yourself, I want you to hear this not as a warning, but as reassurance. Your body is not failing you. It is adapting. Your mind is not weakening. It is reorganizing. Your emotions are not becoming unstable. They are becoming more honest. And when you begin to see it that way, something inside you relaxes. You stop fighting what is natural and start working with it instead. That's where peace begins. And that's where a different kind of strength reveals itself. Not the kind that pushes through exhaustion or ignores discomfort, but the kind that listens, responds, and cares deeply for the life you're living right now. So as you move forward from here, I want to leave you with this simple thought. You are not becoming less. You are becoming more of what truly matters. More aware, more intentional, more grounded in who you are. And that is something to honor, not fear. If this conversation resonated with you in any way, I'd love for you to share your thoughts or your own experiences in the comments. Your story might be exactly what another woman needs to hear today. And if you found comfort or clarity here, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel Elderly Faith Journey, where we continue to have these honest, supportive conversations about living well, no matter your age. Because life doesn't stop at 60. In many ways, it finally begins to feel like your own. And wherever you are on that journey right now, I hope you walk it with kindness toward yourself, with patience for your body, and with a quiet confidence that you are exactly where you're meant to be. Here's to living your life fully, gently, and beautifully at every age.